I adjusted the black-framed glasses on my nose, keeping my head down as I flipped through the script in the corner of the makeup room. Whispers floated around me, barely audible but impossible to ignore. Is it true that Will Hunter, the A-list actor, is coming to audition? No way, he's been off the grid for 3 years. I heard he went abroad to study or something. No one in this room would ever connect the dots between me, a nobody extra dressed in cheap thrift store clothes, and the legendary Will Hunter. 3 years ago, at the peak of my career, I chose to disappear. The world speculated I'd gone overseas for further training, but the truth was simpler. I just wanted to live a real life, to rediscover my passion for acting. Next, Leo Miller, the casting assistant, called out my alias, holding up a sign. I stood, following her into the audition room, and there she was. Lydia Kane sat at the judges' panel, dressed in a pristine white dress that made her look almost ethereal. The up-and-coming director was intently scanning my resume. You worked as an extra on the set of Misty Shadows. She looked up, her eyes bright and curious. I nodded, keeping my words to a minimum. That project was my last film, the one that earned me my final Best Actor award, but to her I was just another nameless face in the crowd. Alright, let's begin, she said, gesturing for me to start. I took a deep breath and dove into the scene, a broken, defeated man, not unlike the person I'd become. When I finished, a soft sob broke the silence. Looking up, I saw Lydia's eyes red with tears. That was incredible. The assistant director, Zach Foster, frowned beside her. Lydia, don't let appearances fool you. This guy isn't even classically trained. No, it's him, she interrupted firmly, cutting Zach off. I want him as the male lead. Her bright, determined gaze caught me off guard, and for a moment I felt a flicker of something I hadn't in years. This girl, I remembered her from a lecture at film school years ago. She'd said her biggest inspiration was none other than Will Hunter, and now, here she was, staking her debut film on an unknown extra. Thank you, director, I said quietly before turning to leave. Behind me, Zach's voice carried a mix of frustration and disbelief. Lydia, are you out of your mind? Will Hunter is coming back to the States soon. One phone call from me and, no, she snapped, her tone unyielding. I want him. I paused mid-step, a bitter smile tugging at my lips. If you knew that the Will Hunter you've idolized is standing right here, disguised as the insignificant Leo Miller, would you still be so resolute? I removed my glasses and stared into the makeup mirror. The reflection showed a cold, distant man, nothing like the celebrated Will Hunter of old. Fine, let's see who you truly admire, the man in the spotlight or the real me beneath it all. Congratulations on landing the lead role. In the producer's office, Zach Foster handed me a contract, his gaze loaded with unspoken questions. Honestly, I'm curious. How did an unknown extra manage to win over Lydia? I took the contract, pretending to read it carefully. Truth be told, I'd signed countless deals like this before. Or maybe, he leaned in, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, is this some new acting exercise for the great Will Hunter? I met his mocking stare, unfazed. So this top-tier producer had already figured me out. Mr. Foster, I'm not sure what you mean, I replied evenly, adjusting my glasses. Don't worry, I won't spill your secret, he said, a knowing glint in his eye. I'm more interested in seeing how you handle Lydia. After all, his tone turned suggestive. She's your biggest fan. After signing the contract, I stepped out of the office and spotted Lydia waiting in the hallway. Leo, she jogged over, her face lighting up. We're having a crew dinner tonight. You've got to come. I opened my mouth to decline, but she grabbed my sleeve before I could. This is my first time directing, and your first time as a lead. It's worth celebrating. Her sparkling eyes disarmed me, and against my better judgment, I nodded. Under the night sky, the street food truck buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses. Come on, Leo, have a drink. The assistant director shoved a beer toward me. I politely declined. Sorry, I'm not much of a drinker. A grown man who can't handle a little beer, he scoffed, turning to Lydia. Director, are you sure about picking this guy as your lead? I saw Lydia's brow furrow, but before she could respond, Zach cut in. Lydia, did you know? Will Hunter never drinks either. Her eyes lit up. Really? Yeah, Zach Foster said, shooting me a pointed look. Some people are just strikingly similar, aren't they? I lowered my head, sipping water to hide the storm in my eyes. After a few rounds, Lydia was tipsy, her cheeks flushed. Leo, she slumped over the table, her gaze hazy. Do you know why I chose you? I shook my head. Because of your eyes. Her voice was earnest. They're just like Will Hunter's in that scene from Misty Shadows. My hand trembled slightly. That was my last film, the pinnacle of my craft. I'm actually really scared, she admitted, her voice small, afraid people will think I'm crazy for casting a nobody in my movie, but I trust my instincts. She clenched her fist, determination flaring. You'll do great, right? Her hopeful stare stirred a mess of emotions in me. Who do you really care for? The aura of Will Hunter, or the soul behind it? If you ever learn the truth, will you still believe in me? Director, I won't let you down, I said finally, unable to offer more. On the way home, my phone buzzed with a message from my agent. Will, the press conference for your comeback is set for next week. I glanced at Lydia, half drunk, and being helped into a car by Zach, a wry smile curling my lips. This performance is about to begin. A-list actor returns. Will Hunter to star in new film Dark Knight. The entertainment headlines exploded across the internet. In the set's break room, I stared at my phone screen at the promotional photo of myself. The downtrodden extra in black-framed glasses couldn't be more different from the polished, suited-up Will Hunter at the press conference. Think she'll show up? Zach leaned against the doorframe, a playful smirk on his face. Who? Don't play dumb, he said, stepping closer and handing me an invitation. Front row at the press conference. I saved a spot for director Lydia. I took the card, saying nothing. My phone rang suddenly. It was Lydia. Leo, did you see the news? Will Hunter is coming back. Her excitement was palpable, and he's in a competing project. I gripped the invitation tighter. Director, does that mean you'll? Don't worry, my trust in you hasn't changed, she said firmly, but I still want to attend the conference. He's my favorite actor. After all, Zach raised an eyebrow, mouthing, this just got interesting. On the day of the press conference, I stood on stage, scanning the sea of media below. In the front row, Lydia sat upright, her eyes shining with anticipation. She had no idea that the Will Hunter she'd been waiting for was also the guy in a cheap suit waiting for her back on set. Mr. Hunter, why did you choose choose Dark Knight as your comeback project?" a reporter asked. "Because the theme is unique," I answered with a smile. "It's a story about reality and illusion." "And what do you think of newcomer director Lydia Kane's debut film, Daylight?" I noticed Lydia sit up straighter. "I'm looking forward to it," I said, pausing for effect, "especially to seeing her chosen male lead." The crowd erupted in murmurs. Lydia's eyes widened, staring at me in disbelief. After the conference, she stopped me as I was leaving. "Mr. Hunter," her face glowed with excitement, "have you really seen Leo's performance?" I smiled faintly. "Of course, he's quite special, right?" She beamed. "I knew he reminded me of you." Before she could finish, her phone rang. It was the assistant director. "Director, Leo's waiting for you back on set." "Oh, I've got to go," she said reluctantly. "I hope I can meet you again soon." Watching her walk away, I removed the carefully styled wig. "Oh, we'll meet again very soon." Cut. Perfect. On set, Lydia jumped up from her director's chair, her voice brimming with excitement. "Leo, that was amazing. You completely exceeded my expectations." I took off the prop glasses, wiping sweat from my brow. The scene had been challenging, but for a former A-list actor, it was like revisiting a familiar dream. "Director, the Dark Knight crew has requested to visit the set," a staff member reported quietly. Lydia's smile froze. "Zach, don't misunderstand." Zach raised his hands in defense. "Will Hunter specifically asked to come?" The set buzzed with excitement. I stood in the corner, watching everyone scramble, a sardonic smirk playing on my lips. "Leo, why are you hiding over here?" Lydia hurried over. "Will Hunter is almost here. Aren't you nervous?" "Director, Before I could finish, the set door swung open. Assistants streamed in, carrying flowers and gifts, but there was no sign of Will Hunter. "My apologies," my agent said, looking regretful. "Mr. Hunter had an urgent matter come up. He asked me to convey his regrets." I saw the disappointment flash across Lydia's face, and an unexpected pang hit me. "He also asked me to pass a message to Mr. Leo Miller," my agent continued. "He looks forward to meeting you on the Golden Star Award stage." The crowd gasped. Lydia grabbed my hand, her eyes sparkling. "Leo, this is Will Hunter acknowledging you." I looked down at her bright expression, my heart a tangled mess. That night, to celebrate the wrap of filming, the crew booked out an entire restaurant. "Here's to Leo's future as an A-list actor." Cheers. Amidst the clinking glasses, I noticed Lydia slip away to the balcony. "What's on your mind?" I asked, joining her with a glass of juice. "Leo," she stared at the night sky. "Why do you think Will Hunter is always so elusive?" My heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "He said he's impressed by you at the conference, but then doesn't show up to visit the set." She sighed. "Just like 3 years ago, shining so brightly, then vanishing without a trace." "Maybe," I said softly, "he's just trying to find his true self." She turned to me, her gaze piercing. "Sometimes I